Sup fuckers, we're back again. I know it's been a long time since we did the last video, but it's been there's been a lot of shit going on in real life, so I'm back now. Beck's on the camera. We got a new phone, so camera quality might be a little different. Say hi, Beck.
Hi.
So I had a request from a friend of mine, my boy Hiyori. You might notice in the Discord. He's one of my best friends. He requested that I make garlic knot sliders, which is something I tried once before. They came out really good. I just didn't do a video of it. So this time we're doing the video. So we are making fresh garlic knots for this. We are going to show you how to do that. And we're going to be mixing beef and pork together for the patties and wrapping them in bacon. Just talking about it's making me drool a little bit because I'm a big fat bastard. So we're going to start with making the garlic knots. We got a stand mixer here. You can do this by hand if you don't have a mixer. If you have a hand mixer, that's not going to work as well, but you can try. Most of them aren't powerful enough. Basically, we're starting with just a simple 6-ingredient pizza dough that we're going to turn into the garlic knots, and then we're going to paint them with some garlic butter and herbs before they go in the oven. So first step here is I've got 1 1/3 cups of warm water. Warm, 105 degrees. Anything more than that, you're going to kill the packet of yeast that you got to put in there next. I added 1 packet of active dry yeast and 1 tablespoon of sugar just to get that yeast jumping, because yeast likes sugar like I like cupcakes. It's how it gets going. So we've had that sitting now for about 5 minutes. It's bloomed up pretty nice. So we're going to add to this, we're going to add 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. We're going to add 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt to this. We're going to add 2 tablespoons of, well, I can get this shit open, I guess. 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Yes, extra virgin, not light flavored, not olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. Add 2 tablespoons of that. And to this, we're going to add half our flour. In this bowl, we got 3.5 cups of all-purpose flour. Just straight up white flour, whatever brand you like to use is fine. A lot of places will say, oh, use high gluten for pizza dough. We're not making fucking pizza, we're making garlic knots. So we're going to add about half of this to our mixer. No, I want a little heavier than half. Then we're going to close the lid. We're going to let this run for about 15 seconds on low speed, just to start incorporating that flour into our wet shit that we put in there. Alright, so now that we got that in there incorporated, we're going to add the rest of the flour, and we're going to let the mixer run for 2 minutes on low speed just to get everything mixed together. Well, that does that, we get rid of this shit. If you have a mixture and you're doing this, you're going to see it start to pull away from the sides, and that's exactly what you want. You want that dough hook that's in there to pull all that shit away from the sides, ball it all up together. So we're going to give this a minute or 2. Yeah, this mixer ain't the best mixer. It gets the job done, but it's a cheap Amazon mixer. If you want a mixer to help you mix doughs and cookies and shit together, it's not terrible, but it's definitely not great. It's like mid-grade at best. I'm not going to tell you the brand name because I don't recommend this one personally, but it gets the job done if you want a mixer. $150 on Amazon. So that's coming together pretty good. While that's finishing coming together, we're going to put a little bit of flour on the board. Just to, once this comes out, we're going to turn this out on the board and knead it a little bit. Flour your hands up a little bit too. This is great if, like my wife, your wife, girlfriend, significant other likes to wear black pants. Just walk up and put a big old smack of handprint right on their ass. Alright, so this is coming together pretty good. Peel that away from the hook. Attach the bowl. plop that out onto this pile of flour. Just get rid of this. So anyway. Alright, so now with this we're going to knead it until it comes together. Just short pulls, folding it in on itself. Making sure you're just pushing it all together. You don't want to overwork it too much or it's going to get rubbery and it's not going to rise. If it doesn't rise, you might as well just make little shit piles instead of poofy garlic knots. You want to try to knead in any separations in the dough, like all this kind of stuff right here. You definitely want to try to knead that into itself. Make sure you have one solid piece of dough. Like I said, this is a pizza dough recipe, so if you want to use this for pizza later too, you can. You don't have to only use it for the garlic knots. You can use it for pretty much whatever the fuck you want. Garlic knots, breadsticks, etc. Alright, so we've kneaded this for a couple of seconds here. Not very long, like I said, you don't want to overwork it. Overwork it. It should be done when you press into it and it springs back on its own. Okay, so now that this is all kneaded together, we're going to let it rise for a little bit. So this needs about an hour at room temperature. You know, unless it's cool in your house, then it might take a little bit longer. I know it's summer, and most of us shitheads have our air conditioners on still, even though it's not 100 degrees out. So we got a lightly oiled bowl here. We're going to drop this in here, just like that. We're going to cover this with a piece of plastic wrap. We're going to let it sit for an hour, and then we're going to come back and we're going to form our knots and start doing the rest of the stuff with the sliders. Alright, so we let our dough rise for an hour. Better to just cut it there instead of you guys listening to my big old dumb ass for the next hour. So you can see it's filled the bowl rather full. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this out now onto, well, first you want to punch it down and get some of the air out of it. And that just means pushing it in with your fingers. Don't really punch it or you're going to fuck it up. And then we're going to make sure it doesn't stuck to the side of the bowl. We're going to roll it out onto the counter. Maybe. There we go. Alright, so what we want to do with this now is we want to shape this into a log. We need it to be at least 16 inches long, and try to get it 5 inches around if you can. Probably not going to be able to, but we're going to try it. So we're just going to form it out into a log. We want 16 inches in length. Ladies, if your husband's doing this, measure it, because we're all a bunch of fucking liars. So we got about 16 inches there. We're just going to make sure we roll it up into the shape that we want it. Okay, so now we got our log. Now we're going to try to cut this out in 1-inch pieces. So that's how you'll be able to determine whether or not you actually rolled this out the right fucking length or not. So I'll just make sure I got it. So we're gonna try to go 1-inch pieces. We should be able to get about 16 of these out of this. If not, it's not fucking long enough. Roll it out and do it again. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. See, I'm full of shit, and those are probably wider than they need to be. But we're turning these into burger buns, so it's okay if they're bigger. So now you're going to take each one of these little balls, just kind of move some of them off to the side because you're going to want to work with one at a time. As you can see, I fucked up a little bit here and there, but this ain't Food Network, and if you don't like it, turn the fucking video off. Go watch fucking Yo Gabba Gabba or some shit. So, now that we got this out, we want to take each one of these and we're going to roll these out. We want to roll them out as best you can. This counter's slippery as shit. You want to roll them out as best you can to about 8 inches in length. If it'll fucking roll, sweet Jesus. Fuck it, we're just going to stretch it out then. Alright. Alright. The counter's fucking slippery. Shut up. Alright. So, once you get it out to about your 8 inches, you're going to take one end, and you're going to end over end these, and you're going to tie it in a knot. Bring one end through the other side, like so. And then I like to tuck these under the bottom, like so, so you get a legit knot. Okay. Now, normally I would advocate putting these on a sheet tray on a piece of parchment paper. But I'm a fucking dumbass and I didn't pick up parchment paper. So, I lightly greased a half sheet pan. Yes, it's dirty because it gets fucking used. So, once it looks like that, you got your knot, we're going to place it on the sheet tray. I'll show you guys how to do that one more time. I'm not even fucking with the board this time because the thing's slippery as shit. So we're going to lay it out. Try to get it as even as possible. And nothing like sitting here watching me roll a dough dong between my fingers, right? All right. So, again, end over end. Bring one end up through the hole, tie it into a knot, and then just take your little things, stick them underneath there. One more time, and I'm gonna finish these up, and then we're gonna go over to making our beef patties. Well, not necessarily beef because it's gonna be a meat mixture. So, again, kind of round it off, end over end, bring it around, tie it in a knot, bring your excess dough underneath, and just tuck it. That's how you make the knots for garlic knots. We're gonna let these rise for 30 minutes on the warm stove top to try to poof up some. Then we're gonna add our flavoring to them. In the meantime, we're gonna move on to making the patties for the burgers. So we got our garlic knots all finished up. They're sitting over there proofing for, they need to rise a little bit, and then we're gonna paint them with some seasoned butter before we throw them in the oven. While that's rising over there, we're gonna start. I gotta turn the fucking oven up. Hold on a second. All right. Well, those are rising over there. We're gonna make our meat mixture for our patties. So I don't use just straight ground beef in sliders because they end up being kind of dry. Although these ones won't because they're gonna get wrapped in bacon too. But I do the same thing as I do for my meatballs and my meatloaf. I always mix like 60% ground beef to 30% ground pork. So if you have an aversion to pork or something, or you can't eat it for religious reasons, or you just don't like pork, you don't have to add pork. But I like pork because I'm a fat ass. Pork is delicious. So we're gonna mix about 60% pork, 70% pork with, 30-40%, or sorry, beef with about 30-40% of ground pork. We're just gonna mash those all together. Mix them thoroughly. Once you get that together, let me rinse my hands off real quick. Be right back. Always wash your hands when you're working with fresh meat because you're gonna get that shit everywhere and you're gonna get somebody sick. It's gonna be your own goddamn fault. I wash my hands. So, we're gonna season this with some salt and pepper, good amount of salt and pepper. I keep it mixed in a jar because it's easier to use this way. Then to that we're gonna add a little bit of granulated or powdered garlic. You can use whichever one you prefer. I prefer granulated. And just to give it a little bit of a smoky texture, even though it's already gonna have bacon on it, we're gonna add just, a teaspoon and a half of ground cumin. Just to give it a little bit of extra flavor to it. It's gonna have plenty of flavor, but you can never under-season meat. It just makes the whole dish fucked up if it's not seasoned properly. So, I'm gonna smash that in real good. Make sure you mix it all around so that everything gets flavored. All right, now we're gonna move on. We got this all mixed up. We're gonna move on to making our patties and bacon wrapping them. We're not really wrapping them so much as just layering some bacon around it, but it's gonna add to the final product. It's gonna make it tasty. Again, if you don't like pork or you can't eat pork for various reasons, skip out on this part. Just make the burgers the way they are. Here I got a couple pounds of bacon, just regular old store-bought bacon, nothing special about it. Comes from the local grocery store. Sorry about that beep, that's the oven. So what we're gonna do with this, we're gonna lay this out in a crisscross Just make an X with the bacon, make a cross with the bacon, whatever you want to call it. We're going to take a little bit of our patty meat and we're going to form our patty. Now you always want to make your patties bigger than you think you're going to need them because they're going to shrink. So don't fuck up and make this too small and then have like a little dot or a meatball in the middle of your bun. So, just going to take that, place it right there, crisscross the bacon over the back. And there you go. Just bacon crisscross around that patty. Then you don't have to add it afterwards. We're going to do that with most of this meat. We'll probably, as I counted the amount of slider rolls I had, I might have overdid on the meat a little bit, but nothing that can't get used later on. We got a bunch of kids in the house. We got dogs in the house. Somebody will eat it. Well, again, make it a little bit bigger than you think you're going to need, or you're going to short yourself. And crisscross this over all four sides. Make sure it's all smashed in there pretty. Then we're going to move it straight onto our trusty skillet, which I did not put any oil on because bacon has enough fat in it. Well, start with seam side down actually. You want to sear these bad boys up, make sure that bacon shrinks in the right way and not the wrong way. While those are frying up, we're going to bang out a few more of these. Now we're only going to cook these until they start to get a little brown on the outside, and then we're going to put them on a sheet tray and pop them in the oven. Because the same cord that I use for the skillet is the same one that we use for the deep fryer, and we are also going to make hand cut fries tonight, so I got to get the burgers cooked off, and then you can see the bacon shrinking, and as it's shrinking, it's pulling that beef together, and it's searing the underside of that bacon up so it's not going to come apart on it. Whew, that's a big old fat slice of bacon right there. Remember, don't touch anything with meat hands. Fucking cross-contaminate your whole kitchen. Somebody's gonna get fucking sick. You see all that grease coming off that bacon. That's why you don't need to oil that pan. If you're using a stainless steel kitchen skillet that you haven't seasoned properly, definitely season it beforehand. Or these are going to stick like a motherfucker. And then you're going to have a bad time. You're going to lose all that bacon on the outside. It's not going to taste as good. And you're going to write me a letter saying, oh, I fucked it up and it's your fault. No, you fucked it up because it's your fault. Alright. So we'll get the first half dozen down or so. We'll wait for that dough to rise. And as soon as these burgers are done, we're going to go into hand cutting our French fries, and I'm going to show you the process for cooking fresh potatoes into French fries without getting shitty hard potatoes or a soggy mess. Alright, so we got our burgers cooking. They're still going right here. I know they're bigger than a normal slider patty, but this ain't fucking show food. This is, we're going to eat this shit after this video is done, and I like a big fat burger. So, we got those going. Our knots are just about ready to go in the oven. We've got, we're going to work on some fresh cut fries now. I got a bowl over here with some cold water in it. I've already started some of the potatoes off camera just to get ahead a little bit. So, the key to doing fresh French fries is to try to get them as close to evenly cut as you can. So, you get these weird ass shaped potatoes. Sometimes you got to split it right down the middle. Sometimes you can split it in three. If you have to split it down the middle, you've got some other potatoes that you're going to be able to split in three and get a nice squared French fry out of. So you want to make sure that these potatoes are roughly the same size as these by cutting them in a different way. So where that one's nice and squared off, it has a lot of surface area to absorb the heat. So you want to make sure these have as much surface area, but you don't want them as thick as that one. So you're going to slice them a little bit thinner than that one is wide, because it's going to have more surface area to cook on the outsides than it is on this side here. So we're going to break down through them, get them all, you know, a nice size, so they're pretty close to the same size as the other one. And you're going to do that with all your potatoes. Make sure you put these in cold water in a bowl off to the side. If you do not put them in cold water, they're going to turn brown as soon as the air hits them. So make sure you keep them in a bowl of cold water. If you end up with some old ratty ass looking French fries, it's your fault. I warned you. So I did 5 potatoes off camera. Here's 3 more here. And that's what my family will eat this evening. Or some, you know, I got some teenagers here. I'm a big old bastard myself. I like French fries as much as the next guy. I especially like my own made French fries. So, we got that. Now, one of my favorite things on any burger is minced sauteed onions or minced caramelized onions. So we're going to do a couple of those too, since we already got the board out. There's really no other vegetables cut for this besides tomatoes, but we're not going to go through the whole this is how you slice tomatoes thing, because it's pretty common knowledge. If you can't slice a tomato, you should give up on the idea of cooking now, unless you're a kid, and then ask your mom or dad for permission to use a knife. And you also shouldn't be watching this video anyway, because I cuss way too fucking much for little kids to be watching this shit. So I've shown this in previous videos before, but just in case you're a new viewer, dicing onions is much faster than slicing the whole onion down and then trying to beat the shit out of it with a knife. So I cut the onion in half right through the root end to keep the onion together. This way the onion's not going to fall apart on you while you're trying to slice it. So you're going to go down through in a slicing motion, down right to the root end. And then you're going to do the same thing next side up, right? Now you've got this cut in 3s. And you're going to go down through the thing, not all the way to the root end. You want to kind of just a little bit shy of the root end. And slice it down 6, 7, 8 times, however big your onion is. So now you've got this crisscross cut. Now you're just going to run your knife through it to make dices. So in a slicing motion down through. There you go. Easy peasy diced onion. Takes no extra time to do it that way. It's actually a lot quicker. If you mess up and you lose the root end, which isn't a big deal either. So, you do the same thing. This side's a little bit thinner. So we're only going to do 1 down the center. But we're not going to go all the way through to the end. We're going to leave about, you know, I don't know, 1/3 of an inch or so on the back end. And we're just going to cut it the same way. Now once you get back to that 1/3 of an inch or whatever you left at the end, just flip it up on its side and run through it with a knife. If they're kind of long pieces, split them in half. And you've got your onions all diced up nice, just the way you want them. We're going to throw these in a pan with some butter. And we're going to saute them up just until they're golden brown, so they can be a nice topper for our burgers. Caramelized onions are good on a lot of things though. If you want a true caramelized onions, I'll put that in a different video when I'm actually working with caramelized onions. These ones I just want nice and brown. Add that little bit of sweetness, that little bit of spice to the patties themselves. Speaking of the patties, I need to get these sons of bitches off here. A couple more cooking, then they're going to go to the oven right about the same time as the garlic knots. Something I never want to see you do with a burger, and that is take this spatula and smash the shit out of this burger to try to flatten it down. It doesn't make it cook faster, and it just makes it dry. If you do that, I'm going to come to your house, I'm going to beat you with this spatula. Alright, so one more time. give you a better angle on it here. We'll scoot our other onions over. So you got this up, kind of lean it to one side to find a flat point so you don't take your damn finger off, or hold it between your fingers like this. Put your knife in, go all the way down until you feel resistance in the root end. It's going to go almost all the way through the whole onion. You're going to leave a little bit of space on the end. And then just run your knife through, not all the way to the outside edge where there's no root end, but all the way through until there's still attached to that back root end. And then just very easily slice right back through all the way down to the root. You're going to end up with, even on the root end, sometimes there's that little bit extra. But you're going to just slice through and get your nice squared off diced pieces. You can go smaller if you want to. You can go, it can go 4 times through the onion, and then half the size on the slices. And then you're going to end up with a fine mince. See how much smaller that is than the other dice? That's how you get, you get a small dice, you can get a large dice. You can slice through that without splitting the onion in half at all, and you'll end up with a much larger dice. And it'll be good. Do however you want. I ain't here to tell you how to do it. I'm just here to tell you how to get there. All right, so we're gonna throw the burgers in the oven with the sliders. Oh wait, I'm gonna throw the burgers in the oven, and we're gonna work on the sliders real quick. Hold on one second. I'll be right back with you. Because these are going to take, 20-ish minutes in the oven. So we're going to move these over here, and I'm going to show you how we're going to prepare those to go in the oven real quick before we split on you and finish up and come back to the finished product. So here in this pot, I got 2 sticks of butter. It's about a half a pound of butter. You're not going to use it all at once. You're going to use part of it now, part of it after. So with this butter, you're going to take some Italian seasoning. I don't buy pre-made Italian seasoning. It's up to you if you want to. Mine is just basil, oregano, dried parsley, some granulated garlic, and some chili flake, crushed red pepper, if you will. And we're going to take that. You're going to make sure that your greenery don't all come out before your garlic does. Because you want to make sure a fair amount of that garlic ends up in this butter. That's how you get garlic nuts. And then just with your brush or whatever you're going to put it on with, stir it around. You want to make sure it is flavorful, because this is going to make your knots taste like the garlic that they are. Turn that thing off or burn the damn house down. Alright, so now that you've got your seasoning incorporated in your butter, the butter's warm, so it's going to bloom the flavors in that seasoning really well. So you're just going to take your brush, you're going to run that over the top of each one of your sliders. Or your garlic knots, these aren't sliders yet. You can see they gained some mass from when we twisted them up, because that yeast is still having a party with that sugar that we put in there. You just nicely coat the entire thing. Make sure you get down inside of its little cracks and crevices. Put enough on the top that it sneaks down into the center where that knot's tied. And do all of these nicely. Make sure they're coated. You don't have to flip them over and coat the bottom too. The stuff will get down there while it coats. Alright, so we got these coated. We're going to put these in a 400-degree oven for, I don't know, 20, 22 minutes or so. Give or take. Your oven might take longer, might take less time. If you're on metric, that's 204 degrees Celsius, I believe. Don't ask me, I do imperial. We're dumb Americans, we don't understand how centigrade works. So, we're going to pop these in the oven. We're going to wait 20 minutes. We're going to let our burgers finish up. I'll be back in a couple of seconds, and then we'll start showing you how to fry off house-made fries. Okay? Alright, so we've got our burgers in the oven. Our sliders are actually getting ready to go off in less than a minute, and I wanted to pull those out of the oven on camera so that y'all can blow the same load I'm going when they come out. In the meantime, our fryer oil's heating up. we took a couple handfuls of our potatoes that we're going to fry into our hand-cut fries, and we've got them straining in the sink. You want to strain those fucking things, or you're going to burn the shit out of yourself when you drop them in the oil. Ask my wife, she knows. So while we're waiting for the timer to go off, I'm going to show you how to pop a lettuce, because this is fucking fun. So, a lot of times people will cut a lettuce in half and then pull the core out. This core is a solid piece right here. If you take your hand, wrap it right there, and you just pop straight down, there's your core right there. No knife necessary. Now I'm just going to take a little bit of this rabbit food. Oh, shit. There's our bacon orgasm that we were just talking about. So I'm just going to take some of this and give it a rough chop, because my wife likes vegetables. Even though this is a very meaty dish, we're going to put some fucking greenery on there. So just rough chop this down into kind of like a shred. Keep your damn fingers out of the way of the blade. Alright, now I got some greenery to put on your burgers. Put that right next to some lovely red tomatoes, fresh tomatoes. You got one more tomato here. I'm going to make you wait on seeing them sliders, because it's going to be worth it. So, ends here we'll save for another purpose. In the meantime, we'll put these here. Now, if y'all ready for the main event, I got these gorgeous fucking garlic knots that are coming out of the oven. Over here on the stove, I've got some, I got those onions we chopped up sauteing. And on very low heat in the back, I got the rest of the butter that we had for our garlic knots. I'm going to show you what we're going to do with that in just a second. But right now, let's pull these badasses out of the oven real fast. Oh, shit. I want to turn off the timer, not the oven, because the burgers are still in there. This right here, that is how you make some garlic knots. They're big, they're beautiful, they smell like fucking heaven. So, the reason we heated up this butter is because the herbs that we used in here are dry. These herbs on here took on some of the moisture of the dough and the butter that was already on them. These ones were just sitting here with, you know, just dry herbs and butter. So we heated up the butter some to get some of that moisture into the herbs. Also, it bloomed the garlic. So what we're going to do with this butter here is we're just going to give these another brush and make these just gorgeous and glistening. They are fucking beautiful and they smell so good. I wish you guys could smell these. You can. Make them your fucking self. That's what the videos are for. So we're going to put some of this butter on top of all these. I was worried the patties are going to be too big, but seeing the size of these garlic knots, god damn, they should be just about the right size. Now we're just going to butter these up. Make them all nice and shiny. Oh. You can pause the video now if you need to relieve some ecstasy from the sight of those sliders. If not, we're going to continue on with the rest of the video here. We're going to put our other half head of lettuce over here. Get rid of these little tomato ends. I'll feed them to the dog. Hey dog, you want a tomato? You want a tomato, puppy? Oh, right off his head. Oh, somebody stole it from you, buddy. I'm sorry. I'll give you a burger because you're a good boy and I love you. Alright, so our onions are over here just browning away. We're reducing them down in size, letting them get some color. Over here in the sink, we got our potatoes that have been straining for a little while. They're still kind of wet. They're going to pop into hot oil. So do not put your face over the fryer or the pot, whatever you use to fry with. So, that's right, Beck, back up. Last time we did something like this, you got a little bit of splatter back. So, the key to making hand-cut fries is you have to blanch them in the oil first. Blanching is just the process of par cooking something to soften it slightly, in layman's terms, to allow it to cook better when you cook it for real. So we're going to drop a handful of fries in here. We're going to cook them for about 2 minutes in the oil, and then we're going to pull them up and let them sit for a couple of minutes. to let the steam on the inside of the potatoes cook that potato. Because deep frying has nothing to do with the oil on the outside. Yes, it makes the outside crispy. But what's happening on the inside of that food is the steam is building up inside of the skin that the oil has created, and it's steaming the inside of that food to cook it. That is where, you know, everything comes from in a deep fryer. Yeah, crispy is great, but crispy don't mean shit if the inside ain't cooked. So, we're gonna I'm gonna take a basket over here, because I'm gonna drop those in there. I'm gonna set my face on fire, and we're all gonna have a good laugh after I get back from the burning. So we're gonna drop just a little bit in here, okay? Just about half a basket. Don't overfill it, because your fryer's gonna fucking bubble over and it's gonna burn the shit out of you. So, very slowly, drop those down into your fryer. We're gonna let those sit for a couple of minutes and start that blanching process, okay? Don't put your face over this again. If you get hurt and you blame me, I'm just gonna come to the hospital and fucking laugh at you because you're a dumbass. So, we're gonna let those blanch for a couple of minutes. We're gonna do a couple more batches, get them all blanched off, and then we're gonna come back and show you how to finish them off and start plating together our dish for this evening. All right, guys and girls, we're almost at the end here. We got some pretty bomb-ass shit laid out on the counter in front of us. We're gonna show you how to put it together. We blanched our first set of fries off camera, and they're now finishing up in the fryer. You can see that they're getting nice and brown. They're just about finished, so we're going to go ahead and start plating up our slider, and then we'll plate our fries with it. So, we're going to start over here. There's our bomb-ass burgers that we cooked. I put sharp white cheddar on them in the oven and let it melt over the top of them. Here's our orgasmic sliders that are going to act as our buns today, and then our various rabbit food. All right. So, you're just going to take the slider up on end. Use a serrated edge knife. If you use a flat knife, you're going to rip this all to shit. So, just saw lightly back and forth through the center of that slider. That is puffy and airy and gorgeous. It's not dense at all. It's beautiful. So, on top of that, we're going to put a little bit of lettuce. We're going to put one slice of tomato. We're going to put our patty that has been wrapped in bacon and smothered in white cheddar. On top of that, we're going to put a spoonful of our minced sauteed onions, 3 slices of pickle. You can leave any of this shit off if you don't like it, it's up to you. And then we're going to put our top bun just kind of at an angle like that, just so you can see what kind of beauty lies underneath. Our fries are all finished up. So, I'm going to take a pair of tongs because these sons of bitches are hot. We're going to unload these right under the side of our gorgeous burger. Hold on one second here. Get our little magic jar that we have of our salt and pepper. Because this kind of fry calls for a nice coarse salt. None of that bullshit iodized salt. I've told you in every video that kosher salt is the way to go. So, there you have it, boys and girls. That is a garlic knot slider with cheddar cheese, lettuce, tomato, minced onions, and pickles, and hand-cut fries on a fresh-made garlic knot. So, guys and girls, hope you had a good time today. We did our garlic knot sliders, our hand-cut fries. This is your first time coming. I hope you enjoyed yourself. If not, fuck off. Don't come back. Either way, don't hurt my feelings. I'm not monetized anyway. I do this for fun and for the pleasure of the people that enjoy watching. So if you didn't like it, get the hell out. Either way, I hope you all had a good time today. If you want to try this at home, I will be posting a recipe in my Discord chat, which you will find my link at the top of the video here at the end. You'll find my direct link to send me a message if you want an invite to the Discord. My Twitter will be down below, along with my Twitch channel, which eventually we're going to try to do this live. I don't know how the hell that's going to work, because I stumble a lot even when we're just recording. But if you have any questions or comments, please direct them to any one of those sources. Other than that, enjoy.